All right, so welcome to another Creative Spin podcast, a place where we have creative conversations, right? With business owners, artists, and any interesting minds. Interesting minds. Those are the ones that I'm looking for because we want to tap into them. So that's what we do here at Creative Spin Podcast. The goal is really to share the informations, the life experiences, so that we can all learn something. And I'm your host. I'm Jamie, and you are Anna.
Hi.
Hi, my partner in crime. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you?
Well. Good. No. So, guess what? Today's episode, what are we talking about? Do you know?
No, I do not.
Any idea? I
You
didn't
did not tell me.
Because I like keeping things very mysterious so that, you
want my natural reaction to things.
Exactly. I want you to go, oh my God. But no, I don't think it's going to be one of those themes. But anyways, today's episode is going to be actually about podcasting.
A podcast about podcasting?
It's
That's
like
interesting.
the Matrix just broke. And,
I know,
And yeah. So, but what are we going to talk about the podcasting side of things? Is I think the first most important question is, should you have a podcast? See, I'm starting out so well. Oh, what happened there with the light? Oh my God, the video side of things, we don't have a light. I'm sure Colin will fix that. Or should we stop? We can continue. This is what happens here.
That's the cool thing about a podcast.
For you that are just listening to this podcast, lights went off, and that's it. That's about it.
Well, the good thing about the podcast is that you don't need the lights, so
Exactly.
we'll fix the video
So
afterwards.
You guys that are just listening to us, you're the lucky ones right now. The ones at home watching.
They're
this.
lucky too, because now they have the shadows. So
Yeah, I mean, there you go. We got light again. This is becoming like a really good podcast. So going back to what I was saying, which was podcasting. The first question that I think is important is, should you podcast? Should you have a show? Why should you have a show? Then the second part is, okay, you've decided to do it. What do you need? What do you need to get that show on the go? Show on the go. There was a kids show.
No, that was a bow on the go.
Bow on the go. Yeah, that was a kids show. Yeah.
God,
Well,
you're such a dad.
I know. Our daughter used to watch that a lot. Bow on the go. And then the third question I want to tackle is how we, Creative 7, we've created a podcast on the go solution and why we've done that. So I want to tackle a little bit about that because, a lot of times when we hear people talking about podcasts and the setups and all of that, we're thinking studios, we're thinking high-end equipment, we're thinking, all
Time.
of these.
We're thinking time.
Yeah, we kind of twisted that a little bit and we thought about time. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun podcast today.
Can't wait.
I kind of have a feeling. I mean, the light just told me that's going to be...
There.
That was the sign.
Let there be light.
There was a sign. All right, and before we start our conversation, I just wanted to say we have a sponsor. Yes, we do. And today's podcast is brought to you by Workplace One. Workplace One is a company offering boutique private offices, co-working spaces, virtual office solution, and meeting rooms just like the one we're in right now. And if you're just listening to us, well, you know what? Go to our YouTube page and just check it out. It's a nice setting here. They have amazing spaces in the best neighborhoods here in Toronto. I can attest to that, and in Kitchener-Waterloo as well. This is ideal for entrepreneurs, companies, and basically people that are passionate about their business. These spaces provide a really, really cool environment to build and network and just drive business in general. They have 5 locations here in Toronto, which is kind of cool. We will be going to all of these locations and recording podcasts so that you guys can also see at least these spaces in regards to the meeting rooms, because that's where we record our podcasts. And they also have a location in Kitchener, as I said. Workplace One is basically where you want to be if you want to have your business going properly. if you want more information, I guess you can just jump into the website. It's workplace1.com. We'll leave all the information below if you guys want to check it out. Just on a little side note, it's where we've been for quite a few years. It's awesome. I think they've got a really good concept going on. So yeah, check it out. I think it's gonna be
Great.
It's gonna be cool for you guys to see what they have on the go. Now, before we dig into the topic, is there anything that happened this week that you want to mention or anything? I mean, I think we should talk about stuff.
I've been fascinated about the black hole.
Indeed. This black hole situation. I don't know. What are your, like, do you think it's been worth the amount of money that's been spent to look at a black hole? Is it really there?
When you put it as that, no. No, I think so. I've always been fascinated. I'm a Star Trek, and so are you, kind of person. I've always been fascinated by what's out there, right? And I'm not part of the group of people that, may think that we are sort of alone in the universe. So no, I've always been very, very fascinated. Mind you, it's beyond me when I try to understand stuff.
Well, I mean, just think about it this way. When you speak about this black hole and you realize that whatever we're seeing right now,
it's how many billions of years?
Well, it happened when I don't think the planet was even here.
No, it goes beyond human life, right?
That's insane. That's insane. So we've basically spent millions of dollars to look at a hole that doesn't exist anymore? Possibly.
Well, and what fascinates me the most is that you do not see the hole. You actually see the shadow. I was reading about it. You cannot see the hole.
I mean,
right?
Listen. Did you really look at that picture? I don't think you can see a hole, a shadow, or anything. I mean, that thing can be a lot of different things.
But I also like the fact that it was a young woman that was able to, since we talk about technology all the time, that she was able to come up with a program that actually put all those images. It's 5 different images, I think, from 5 different telescopes or something like that.
I have no idea.
That put it together. I got
a little bit of a headache when I started getting into the tech stuff. I'll be honest with you, because that's a little bit. I love tech, but not that kind of tech.
But it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. I'm not gonna lie. It's fascinating, but I don't.
Oh, it's the size of our solar system. If I don't have the facts wrong, so yeah, there you go. So that's a big hole.
But that's a big hole.
Described as the gates of hell by the discovery. Yes.
Wow.
So yeah.
Well, it's a good thing that the gates of hell are really, really far away. But then again,
I don't know. That's been my thing this week.
All right. So that was the big news for this week. Now we're gonna go into the podcasting theme that we decided to talk about today. Colin, don't forget to tell us when our time is almost there, because we're trying to keep our podcast to about 30 minutes.
We talk a lot, right?
No, I think, you know what?
Oh, I do talk a lot.
And this, again, okay, this has to do a little bit with the podcasting of things. Like we are trying to keep these podcasts to about 30 minutes. I think that 30 minutes is that sweet spot. I think, this is my opinion, I don't know, people out there, we've obviously have listened to podcasts that go on for 2-3 hours. That can work in some situations. For me, and this is my personal view, this is my personal perspective, and my watch just hit the table, and that's not good. I think that 30 minutes is like that sweet spot. If I'm going to grab my car and go to the office or go home or go for a drive, I think 30 minutes is kind of that sweet spot in which I'll be driving for that amount of time. So if I start listening to a podcast, I'll listen from beginning to end. So
I love listening to podcasts when I'm walking the dog, for example.
Yeah,
and it allows me that half an hour that I like to walk, because I take it, even though it's not really walking as a workout, because the dog stops, whatever. But yes, I get what you're saying, because I hear that whole episode while I'm walking.
Even if you don't listen to the full episodes walking the dog, because you might just go around the block with the dog. But you're going to listen to half of the podcast, and then you can listen to the other half the second time you go out with the dog. So that's why, if you're working out, you're probably going to work out for about 45 minutes, right? So you can fit in a 30-minute episode. And that's why I was just asking Colin to keep us on the spot, because we start talking and then we don't stop. So that being said, a couple of the topics that I said on the top of the show was, should you have a podcast? Should you not? Listen, it's like anything in life. You can choose to have a podcast because you want to talk about your business. You can choose to have a podcast because you just like to talk about something that you're into. Could be anything from books to if you're a Star Trek fan, like you just mentioned, or anything really. You can make it your own topic, your own world. I think, you can take it from a business perspective. You can take it from just a hobby perspective and just have fun with it. Are you going to be comfortable on, with a mic in front of you and speaking? That's another situation that you have to look into. But from my experience, I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. So you know what? If it's something that you have in the back of your mind, excuse me, in the back of your mind that you wanted to do, but you don't feel comfortable, or you've never done any type of recordings, or you've never been in the radio or doing anything like that, you know what? Start it off, because you're going to get better.
I think that one of the advantages of podcasts, it's not live. So when you're talking, you don't need to be conscious about the fact that everyone is listening to you as you're speaking. And that might help. That might put you in that comfort zone where you say, you know what? I don't like what I just said. Maybe I should record another one, or whatever the case may be, right?
You're 100% right, because that's when we go out and record with our clients. Obviously, this is not what they do, right?
Yeah.
So they're nervous,
which is normal, right?
It's 100% normal to be nervous, or to kind of overthink what you're going to say. But we have this thing of keeping the camera rolling. Right? We just keep it rolling. And interestingly enough,
do they even know that you're...
No. They
good.
don't know that it's rolling.
Yeah.
And when they don't know, they're comfortable about it. And when that happens, those are the best takes. So that really just comes down to the point of, you try to be relaxed and always have in your mind, if I screw it up, I can record again. I can say it again. Because once you're thinking that way, you're going to stop being nervous about the whole situation, and you're just going to, it's going to flow a lot better. So now the question, should you have a podcast? Yeah, I think so. I think it's an interesting thing. If you have something to say, if you have something that you want to share with people, this is a great way to do it. And it's not that difficult to do. Which kind of brings me to the second question, like, what do you need to get started? Yeah, we have nice mics and stands and lights and cameras and all the equipment. Nice, very good. But you don't need this, right? If you just...
It helps.
No, obviously, if you want to have something that's professional, that's going to sound good, yeah, you're going to need the good equipment. But my case in point here is that I don't want, and I keep saying this, I don't want equipment to be the thing that's going to stop you from doing what you should be doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's because I think... And I suffer, and I'm saying this because I suffer from that a lot, because we are in the business. It's a little bit different. We try to get the better equipment because we're dealing with clients. We want them to look good and sound good. So for us, having this equipment, we're using it for ourselves as well, but it's more for a client's perspective. But if you're just doing something as a hobby, a podcast as a hobby, and you're talking about books or you're talking about movies, you don't really need the high-end quality to start things off. You can, go slowly. Just buy a mic, and then the next step, you buy whatever. Go slowly. I mean, don't break the bank because you think you're going to need the best mic, the best recorder, to just do something like that. Just get it out, get it going, get the message. I think in a lot of cases, the quality of the content is what's going to matter more than the quality of the equipment and the output. If you can have both things at a high standard, great. You have great content and it's recorded properly and you got good sound and good images and all of that, great. I mean, do that as well. But I always try to tell people, don't worry so much about the quality of the image and the sound to begin with if you're just doing something as a hobby. Now, to say that in terms of business, that's where I might have a little bit of a different opinion. if you own a business and you want to do a podcast to talk about your products, your services, your company, what you do, your opinions on that,
then you want the best quality
you
out there.
want the better quality, right? So then you might want to get the better equipment so that everything sounds and looks better, right? Or hire somebody that has that equipment. That's going to lead me to the third question that I put out. Oh, my voice today is so nice. I think I'm just going to have
I think you need a little bit of coffee. Maybe that will make things better. See?
Actually, if you talk to a lot of people that are into the audio business, they say that coffee is not good because I don't know.
Well, I'll beg to differ on that one.
Yeah, but
okay.
I don't care. I love coffee, so I'll just have coffee. I don't care. Yeah, but I'm having a little bit of an issue with my throat today. I don't know what's going on. So when going back to if you have your business and if you want to make sure that your message about your business, your products, your services is coming out to your audience the proper way, then you should really think about one of two situations. You're either going to buy the equipment yourself, have that, let's say you have a meeting room in your office that isn't being used that much, set it up there. And, be ready to record. You can have your mics set up all the time, your cameras, and, flip of a switch. You have your podcast, your video going out, and you can do it that way. Or, the other option is you go to a studio and you rent out a studio and you can, there's a lot of that out there as well. What we're trying to do at Creative 7 is we kind of looked at this and said, you know what? I think when it comes to business owners, one of the things that is extremely important, and I value that a lot, is time, right? It's not that easy to just say, oh, I'm going to go out and, rent a studio. Let's say in our case here, go out to downtown Toronto or wherever it may be, and the light went off again. So, being able to go to the location, to drive there, to find parking, to take the time in the studio, to record, to get the car again, you're looking at a few hours of your day that's going to be just gone.
That you can't really afford.
Well, you can afford it, but you could be doing other things, right? From a business perspective, 3 hours that you're that you're spending, and I'm laughing because the light keeps going on and off, and it's all entirely my fault because I didn't charge the damn batteries, and now we're just gonna have to.
But these are things that can happen.
These are
right?
things that can happen, and mind you, I usually, obviously, every single time we go out to do this with the client, it's one of my biggest fears is this. And then for me, I didn't really care. I just grabbed it and went. But one of my biggest fears is batteries running out and things like that. Actually, last night we were having that conversation when we were watching
Parts Unknown.
Parts Unknown. There you go. And he was in the middle of the Congo.
Yeah.
And the thing that I kept on thinking was,
my God,
where's he going to charge his batteries? But anyways, going back to this is, not spending the time to have to go to a location, to have to do all that kind of thing. For us, when I started thinking about this and, okay, this is pretty cool. We're doing it for ourselves. We should be helping our clients as well in that aspect. I mean, Creative 7, we've come from a design background and we've grown into other areas, and this is now our new puppy that we're dealing with, and we saw the importance of this for ourselves, and we obviously started implementing that idea into our clients' business as well, and we started realizing that it's hard for businesses to take the time to do all of this stuff. So we decided to go to them. So we have all this equipment. We've actually just recorded a video explaining our equipment and how we set things up and all of that.
And you take the podcast to the client.
Yeah, and we take the podcast to the client. Yes, we're not going to have the best studio, when it comes to, is there going to be sound in the background, or are there going to be people running around upstairs and you're going to hear the footsteps, or, all of that kind of stuff. But again, if you get decent mics, they're going to be picking up the person's voice.
Yes.
And it's not going to pick up that much sound in the background to the point where that it's going to ruin the experience of a podcast. So, you need to kind of say, okay, do you want to spend 3-4 hours to get a podcast done? Or do you want to spend 45 minutes, get it done, and you're off to the games, right?
Yeah.
So it's really, debating about how you or what kind of podcast you want to have or video you want to have. I believe that, more and more people are having issues with time. I think, we're just busy as
I feel like there's just so much going on a day-to-day basis that I hear you. Like if someone comes to me, if I can share my expertise or whatever it is that I want to share, and someone can come to me for that to happen, and I don't need to worry about the setup. I don't need to worry about, as you said, driving somewhere or even go online and book a studio. That option is going to be my favorite option for sure.
Yeah, let me be clear. I'm not saying that having a studio time in a proper studio with proper equipment is bad. I'm not
absolutely.
saying that.
But a lot of times, that's what you're saying.
We do that too. We'll rent the studio time and we'll do all that for the client as well if they so choose to do so.
Yeah, exactly.
But my point is, I think that for the vast majority of people
having
that
the choice is what is important.
Exactly, and having the choice. And I think what I really wanted to do was give the choice of mobility, of cutting back on that time that the client is going to spend moving around town, especially with today's traffic. My God,
and that's my point. Like, sometimes that's what makes you not want to do that extra step, right? Because when you start thinking the time you spend on the road is just insane, right?
It's crazy.
And you can be listening to podcasts and learning, but you also have your other commitments that sometimes force you to not have that time, right?
Exactly. And I think with that, it's been over a year, almost 2 years now that we've been offering this for clients, and it's been pretty cool. It's being able to grab our 3 bags and go out to wherever and just set it up. It's amazing and just getting the things done. Now it's not perfect. We've had situations where, as an example, Frank from Molicero Restaurant, we tried to do a podcast at his location and it just didn't work because there were way too many.
The circumstances were different.
Yeah. It was too much noise going on, like from the fridge that kept on making a lot of noise to people.
Well, it is a restaurant, right?
It is. It's not perfect, but that also needs to be understood by the client side that, okay, you want us to go to your location, but we could only do as much as we can based on the situation we're in, right? So if we go to a place where it's too noisy, that's what you're going to get. But sometimes, if the message is right, that works too.
Exactly. The value of the content.
I almost ate the mic right now.
Yeah, that value is what is important.
Exactly. So, but I think, look at what we're doing right now. We're sitting in a boardroom, and it works. It doesn't have the full studio thing, but it works because, again, there's not too much noise going on, and we can get a good sounding podcast out. So, in a lot of cases, companies will have that one office that people aren't going into and that it blocks enough of the sound, the exterior sound, that it'll be enough.
Yeah.
Right. So, Colin, how much time do we have?
We're at 26 minutes.
26 minutes. This means that we're going to have to say our goodbyes soon. But just to wrap things up, I just wanted to say that podcasting is a cool option to have. It's, look at this, like 26 minutes have just gone by. It seems like we were just talking for 2 minutes, right? But you can say a lot of stuff. You can talk about a lot of details on your products and just, in your field, right? If you're in a particular field that you want to talk about.
Give information,
give tips, talk to your audience, respond. Now if you get comments on this podcast, you can talk about it on the next podcast. That's the beauty of this, right? And you have the control of what's going
You're
on.
providing a good service.
You're providing a good service. Anyways, guys, that's it for this one. Appreciate you guys. Oh, you see what I did there? You shouldn't do that. You got to be careful with your P's. I appreciate the fact that you guys are listening. I hope you guys are enjoying these episodes. Let me know. I should look at that camera now for the people that are watching this on YouTube. Let us know what you're thinking about all of these episodes that we put out. If you have any comments about them, don't be shy. Just put them there.
Suggestions
And all that. Be nice. And yeah, suggestions for any other episodes and any other things that we can talk about. That's it for now.
Yeah.
Thank you
My
for
pleasure.
being here. And catch you guys on the next one.
Will do.